The best word to describe The Flash is annoying. And that's not just because of the ways that it fails, but also because of the ways that it works. It would be so much easier for me if The Flash were just an unmitigated train wreck or an unexpected triumph. Instead, it's this weird little beast of a movie that blasts you in the dang face with some of the most gooberish Silver Age cheese in any comic book film for its first 10 minutes, just straight up puts a gun to your head and tells you to bail if you're not down for some absolute balls-to-the-wall clownery. Then, like its title character, it wastes absolutely zero time launching into the central premise of Barry Allen going back in time to save his dead mom. At which point, the movie then levels out into an actually really solid adventure comedy for most of its runtime until taking a turn in the third act, at which point the film starts to slowly tank and never recovers. Like, just from that description, you can see how this is a frustrating thing to react to and talk about, right? Tonally, the superhero media that it's most akin to, in my mind, is Taika Waititi's Thor movies. And let's just say that there's moments of tonal whiplash here that makes Thor Love and Thunder look tame. Like, it just sucks, because now we're left with this weird movie where I spent most of my time with it smiling and going along with it and having a good time, and appreciating just how much of a unique, singular directorial vision it was, only to be left with this horribly bitter aftertaste, so potent that I can't comfortably recommend it, even if I choose to ignore the fact that its lead is by all accounts a complete monster who deserves to be in jail. Which I don't want to do either. The only reason I even saw this thing in theaters to begin with is because I had a friend who was nice enough to buy me an advance ticket. And you know what? Let's add one more layer of complication onto the cake here, because this is also easily Ezra Miller's best performance as Barry Allen. I've never liked Miller as the Flash, and that was before they went on a years-long GTA 5 rampage. Maybe that's on account of Andy Muschietti being more of an actor's director than Zack Snyder was, or maybe it's because we've got two Barry Allens in this story, allowing Miller to play the lead Barry as the comparatively mature straight man to his younger self's antics, and by extension finally affording the performance some real emotional grounding. Whatever it is, while there's still certainly some acting rough spots, Miller gets to portray a genuinely funny and engaging double act with themselves for most of the film. I'd say Miller's performance, along with the actual direction, is pretty much what carries the movie. I really can't believe I'm saying it, but for as much as I had every reason to expect that Miller would be the stone around this movie's neck, the fact is, I don't think any of its other disparate elements really add up to a net positive without their presence. I mean, to start with, the CGI throughout the movie is, in my opinion, absolutely awful. There's these brilliantly conceived visuals in the sequences where Flash time travels, and the Polar Express-looking nature of the CG models almost helps add to the effect in some scenes. But I can't give the film enough credit to call that a pointed creative choice, because all of the instances of CG throughout the entire thing are PS3 Polar Express-looking puppet things. The movie looks unfinished, I'm sorry, there's just never a single moment in any of the effects-driven scenes where I'm not taken right out of the film. More substantively, we've got some character issues too. The movie kinda sorta approaches doing something interesting thematically with Keaton's Batman, at least as far as the meta-commentary on his own casting goes, but in the end, he's only here for the absolute laziest brand of fan service. In the sense that there's no reason outside of pure nostalgia baiting that any of his scenes couldn't have just been Ben Affleck again. Or literally any other actor for that matter. And you know, it's truly ironic that Sasha Calle has to do most of the marketing for this film in Ezra Miller's place, since Supergirl is actually a fairly minor presence in the movie. As far as sheer length of screen time, Calle's gotta be in the film for about 5 minutes tops. And while the movie attempts to give her an arc, it's beyond rushed. In a vacuum, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, it's just funny as a little cherry on top of this film's decade-long production hell that the behavior of its star leaves all of the red carpet duties to this minor supporting player. It would be like if Brie Larson or Tessa Thompson had to single-handedly lead the press tour on Avengers Endgame. Then there's Michael Shannon as Zod, who seems like he was just here for the paycheck because he's giving a truly bad performance. But honestly, ignoring all of that, even though I'm not going into spoilers, I have to talk broadly about the film's third act, because it really is the fan service that happens there that nukes the movie for me emotionally. And it starts out as just a Batman problem. Every time the movie has some Keaton-centric applause moment with the Danny Elfman score blaring over it, it feels like it's actively undercutting this as Barry's movie. It's a little intrusive throughout the second act, but then it gets outright mood-breaking when we're still playing the triumphant Keaton-Elfman card on the back of a scene that feels like it's supposed to be a genuinely dark raising of the stakes and signifier of just how bad things have gotten in this alternate universe. It's just not good stuff. But the real kicker comes when it's well and truly climax time and the problem balloons far beyond Keaton's Batman. In the final 15 to 20 minutes, the film absolutely loses itself. At first, creating this really tense and well-acted scene, where it becomes clear who the true villain of the story is. It's a setup that genuinely had the potential to be one of the most memorable and impactful final confrontations in any superhero film. But then, instead of spending any time with that delicious idea for a climax, the film rushes through it in order to instead spend time on frankly gross, overindulgent fan service callbacks to older DC material that doesn't serve this film at all. And in fact only serves to harm the surprisingly intimate nature of the moment by artificially ballooning the stakes. More than anything else, it feels like the movie compromising itself, almost cowardly even. Like, the movie walks up to the plate with this fascinating emotional climax that puts the audience in a really tough spot, feels so well built to and is really well performed by Miller, and then the movie just kinda gets distracted by contextless, morally dubious cameos for a couple of minutes. Then all that narrative potential gets wrapped up in about 10 seconds. It sucks. It sucks so bad, as does the film's actual final scene, which almost feels like it's begging for some kind of sequel or just belongs at the end of a different movie. I don't know, man. There are few movies more bothersome than the ones that are actually really good, except for the one or two big, impossible-to-ignore elements that just blow chunks, and which drag the whole thing down to okay at best. And that's The Flash. It's honestly the kind of thing I could watch again as a fun little romp, especially once I know what to expect. But great direction and one great lead performance can only elevate so much. What do you think of my thoughts? Are you looking forward to the movie, or if you've seen it already, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the future.